Welcome back, guys. Today we're drawing Sonic the Hedgehog. But before we start, I want to give you some basic shapes that'll help us break down Sonic's face. So whether you like classic Sonic, that Sonic with the raps, whatever this is supposed to be, the very amazing designs by Tyson Hess, or if you want to make your own original Sonic character.
I'm not Sonic! I'm my original character, Blonic!
So let's get started. First, you're going to need this hot dog shape, like so. And then you're going to need to make another one for the nose. Add a highlight and fill it in. Next is the smile. Really simple. And then for the eyes, we're going to make this big M shape. And then two ovals for the eyes, the highlight, and fill. Do that twice. Next, the ridges over the eyes. And then we want to hint that his head is circular, and then add a triangle with a triangle on the inside, 2 times for both ears. And then my favorite part, the spikes. Just 3 sharp spikes coming out of the back of his head.
Nice.
So Sonic's head is essentially a circle. And on that circle lives those 2 chili dog shapes we talked about earlier.
Here, have another chili dog.
So the next shape we're going to need is that M shape for the eyes. Can't forget about those spikes. 3 curved spikes, kind of like shark fins, coming out the back of his head. And lastly are the ears, which are just triangles with triangles on the inside. So all versions of Sonic share these basic design elements, and once you master those, you can pretty much draw any version of Sonic you want. So when I was young, the first version of Sonic I was introduced to was Sonic from Sonic 2, but Sonic Adventure Sonic will always be the Sonic for me, so that's what I'm going to draw today. So I'm going to be using those basic shapes I showed you in the earlier part of the video. So as you can see here, his head is just a big circle, and I'm going to add that hot dog shape for his mouth, and then that M shape for his eyes. Another hot dog shape for the nose. And then I'm going to throw in those eye ridges. Now I'm not using a reference or a thumbnail for this image, I'm just drawing Sonic from memory. I've drawn Sonic so many times in my lifetime that I pretty much know what he looks like. Sonic was one of those characters that you could always find in my notebooks from school, because I loved his design so much. Pretty much everyone from the franchise gets the okay for me. Knuckles is probably my favorite, but you know, for this video I wanted to go back to the OG and do Sonic. We're going to jump up to the spikes on his head. The Sonic Adventure spikes are not exactly the same as the spikes that we practiced earlier. They're going to be a little bit more elongated, a little more stylized. This Sonic is all about cool, and his proportions are super exaggerated. He's taller, he's slimmer. This entire era of Sonic was all about attitude, and I'm keeping that in mind as I pose the character. And it wouldn't be a picture of Sonic if he wasn't throwing up a peace sign or something like that. I've always liked Sonic's shoes, and the Sonic Adventure design added in the little buckles that he's never had before, which I thought were super interesting. but I could never remember if they were both on the same side or on opposite sides or what side they were on. So, you know, not too worried about it. Just trying to draw this completely from memory. And that's something to keep in mind. Character accuracy is very important for client work, or if, you know, you're working on character designs for animation. But because this is a drawing strictly for me, I'm not too worried about it. So, pretty much done here, just a few minor details, and then I'm going to move to inks. I'm going to use a gum eraser to make these lines lighter. And to ink, I'll be using 3 different colored inks by Calli. I'll be using black ink for things like Sonic's nose, and his smile, and his shoes. And I'll be using the blue ink for things like his quills. And then I'll be using red ink for his belly and his arms. So by coloring the line work, I'm looking to pay homage to those classic Sonic drawings that were done in airbrush, where all the lines are in color. So mixing that with the more modern Sonic Adventure style, I think we can get something really awesome. So I'm switching to the red here, and if you're new to drawing with different colored lines, this will feel a little weird, especially if you've only ever done line work in black. It definitely takes some getting used to. I'm just going to keep moving my drawing around, trying to get the best angle that's going to allow me to make these lines with as few strokes as possible. We really want them to look smooth and fluid, because that's all a part of what this drawing is about. Sonic's very cool, he's very smooth. We want our lines to translate that to our audience. So no jagged lines, no second guessing the lines, we're just laying them down. This level of line confidence just comes with experience. It's sort of like second nature at this point. But if you're having issues using these same sorts of tools, you could always use colored markers. It's not necessary that you use a dip pen for these kinds of drawings. I'm just gonna retrace these lines to make them a little thicker. I wasn't liking how thin they had gotten as opposed to the rest of the drawing. Now I'm just gonna throw in some ovals for the eyes.
Nice.
Now that the body's done, it's time to jump into things like the gloves, and the shoes, and the socks. Nothing too crazy here, just basically going over the lines I put down as a foundation. So it should go by pretty quickly. So if you've noticed this entire time, I'm always conscious of where my hands are. I'm not smudging the ink. And at times like this, when an entire drawing is wet, you might need to have to draw upside down. And and just a few more details, and we can jump over to colors. So I've already got my colors pre-mixed, as you can see above my drawing in my palette. And I'm just going to start with this emeraldish green color for the background fill. Nothing terribly complicated going on here, just trying not to go over my lines too much. Even though this is watercolor, if I lay it on too thick, then I'll lose my line work. I have to be super careful not to do that. These areas were so large that it was pretty tough to avoid streaks, so this whole process was a bit of a struggle. This part of the drawing is a bit time consuming, but I think it's worth it for the end effect.
One eternity later.
So this part is sped up pretty fast because there's not much going on besides filling in these large blocks of color. In these big open areas, I'm just laying the paint down very thick so that I can avoid streaks if possible and get one even color across the entire thing. And for this part of the process, I'm using one of my larger brushes because it holds so much paint that I don't need to continuously go back and forth. If I was using a smaller brush, I would have to make more trips to my palette. I know you guys have heard enough of me during this video, so I'm just gonna draw and chill, and I'll chime back in at the end. So that's the video. I hope you had a good time hanging out while I drew Sonic. So have a chill day, keep drawing, and I will catch you in the next one.